Breaking news coming in, a military aircraft crashed at the Air Force Station in Jorhat, Assam. During the landing, IAF has confirmed this. The aircraft involved was an An-31 cargo plane used for transporting supplies. The accident occurred while the aircraft was attempting to land at the airbase. There are fears that the pilot may have lost his life in the crash. Further details are awaited as rescue and investigation efforts continue at the site. The aircraft involved was an An-31 cargo plane used for transporting supplies. The accident occurred while the aircraft was attempting to land at the airbase. There are fears that the pilot may not have survived. Further details about the case is awaited as rescue and investigation efforts continue at the site. And a military aircraft crashed at the Air Force Station in Jorhat, Assam during the landing. IAF has already confirmed this news. The aircraft involved was an An-32 cargo plane used for transporting supplies. The accident occurred while the aircraft was attempting to land at the airbase. There are fears that the pilot may have lost his life in the crash, and further details of the case are awaited as rescue and investigation efforts continue at the site where the accident happened. IAF has said that the pilot is here dead, and the airplane was landing at the time when the accident occurred. It was a military aircraft, and it crashed at the Air Force Station in Jorhat in Assam, and it happened during the landing. The aircraft involved was an An-32 cargo plane used for transporting. My colleague Kartikeya Sharma is joining us on the phone line. Kartik, a military aircraft has crashed at the Air Force Station. What do we know so far?
Yes, a military aircraft, An-32, has crashed. Now, the important thing is that this visual that we are playing on screen tells us that the plane actually split into two. An-32 is a military aircraft, and An-32 is a military transport aircraft. So when we let's talk about military, let me just give you an idea what this aircraft is. Basically, this is the workhorse of the Indian Air Force. So when we say workhorse, what does it do? It is not a special forces aircraft. What it does is that it ferries people, it ferries personnel, it ferries load, it ferries people, who needs to be transported over short haul distances. It's not a fast aircraft. It does for supplies. Now, accident that occurred was at the time of attempt to land the plane at the airbase. Now, there are fears that the pilot may have passed away, but the issue is very, very simple. Very simple, and the issue is that why did it's a very sturdy aircraft. You see, it's a fixed wing aircraft. So, in a fixed wing aircraft, the dynamics of the air is very, very different. So when we say it's a fixed wing aircraft, we are talking about a different dynamic. We are talking about a different body. So I think we will need to investigate as to why this has happened. And so this is very, very tragic. This is very, very tragic. Why this has happened, but most of us. And secondly, generally, debate will happen that these are aging planes. So the plane, apart from the age, should also be known from its airworthiness. So most of the planes which are flying are airworthy. So one has to understand why did this crash happen? Was it the error? Was it last minute gust, air wind, or what has happened? So I mean to say that all these issues need to be discussed. All these issues need to be taken on board as to how these crashes have taken place. But let me tell you that this is very, very tragic.
Definitely, Kartikeya. KK Sinha, defense expert, has also joined us on the phone line. So, a military aircraft has crashed, and as we were talking just before this, that certain aircrafts are old and outdated. They have aged. What would you like to say about that?
Good afternoon, Jai Hind. Very, very, tragic incident, and my condolence to, if both the pilots, the information are not there. See, first AN-32. AN-32 is a very, very old aircraft and still in service. Most of the military don't use AN-32 now, but we are using it. But it is airworthy, and AN-32 we have flown. In the military, we keep flying in this because it is a logistic cargo plane in which we sometimes you carry out the parajumps. I have done my parajumps through AN-32. So these are very, very old, but at the same time, these are airworthy. There are certification that they carry on. As far transport aircraft is concerned, and sometimes what happened, we can't keep blaming that these are your aircraft which is old. These are the decisions which we have to take it for the national interest. We can't put much money as on today. We are struggling for the fighter aircraft. It has gone down to 29 squadron. Now we are trying to make it to 42. The point is we have to see that we have to understand these are the hazards of our services and Air Force all over the world. All Air Forces do transport aircraft, the fighter aircraft, and but zero error syndrome sometimes puts the mind, and the people actually don't then ready to take chances. You have to take chances, and I think it might be on a flight routine because or must be carrying some cargo. And Jorhat is the place which in Assam where the conditions of weather is also plays a great role. But it is not on the foothill of Himalayas. It is Jorhat, as you know, that it is somewhere in the south-west directions in the northeast. And in northeast, when we talk about, is it in the southwest direction? So I don't think, because it has been actually met with accident when it was approaching the, your landing strip, or, what happened, judgment of the pilots or ATC, we have to see. But, bottom line is that, these are the conditions, hazard conditions of the services, which we have to off and on. Endeavor, you take it from me, the endeavor is there, the zero error, zero, accidents, zero. But it do happen, and my condolence to these people, and we have to make, we have, our endeavor should be that, these assets are,
Yes,
properly
sir.
handled.
So, as you
These are the
mentioned,
things.
so as you mentioned that there are hazards in the services, I would like to ask: is this an isolated incident? Has this happened before?
AN-32, number of accident of AN-32. It is not the first time AN-32 or it is a new plane or new. AN-32, Donia and AN-32 are supposed to be very, very reliable machine. Indian, Army has been used. It was used in 71. It has used in all conflict, and it has used for the logistic para-dropping. It is used day and night for the, dropping of logistics into, in the northeast, whether it's in the northern fronts, which carry out because the forward maintenance is done by this. And over and above, it is casualty evacuation, and it has played its role.
Yes.
But at the same time, the hazard of the service, because there is a man, there is a machine, and man and machine gels well and it flies. And in this type of incident, is very unfortunate, but does happen. It does happen. And we should not get into a zero error syndrome, try to blame people. Let's find out. The court inquiry will be there, and it will find out the cause. And take it from me. The Indian Armed Forces, Air Force, will not do anything. They will try to bring out exact causes and take the steps to plug it. But in spite of that, all effort, this type of incident do take place.
Yes, sir. Our managing editor Kartikeya Sharma is also joining us on the phone line, and he would like to take some questions.
Mr. Sinha, if I'm audible to you, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mr. Sinha, my question to you is that AN-32 is a workhorse of the Indian Air Force. Though any aircraft is known by its airworthiness, not by its age. But how do we contextualize the AN-32 in this accident, sir? Can we say that it's a 45-year-old aircraft?
It is. This machine is very, very old. Has taken part in all combat and day and night. What you said is a workhorse. The complete logistics are being planned by N-32. It is also used for the para-dropping in a combat operation. It has done well. I said that, I have done my para-jumping from this, and it is used for both the training purposes for, when you carry out operations. It's used for your logistics. It's used for the, supply and maintenance, for casualty evacuation, you name it. Movement of essential element from one theater to another theater. Even the VIP movements do take place with this N-32. So it is an old machine, machine and man, both. And no one wants, you take it from me, services all over the world. These are the hazard, whether it is the United States of America, Russia, you will keep hearing this type of an accident takes place. You just can't blame. You have your.
I completely agree with you. I as a junior defense reporter in 2003, had the privilege to travel with Defense Minister George Fernandez to a lot of places, and I was one of the first few journalists to have been part of that AN-32 hard landing in Vijayanagar where they took the journalists. So I understand what you're saying, sir. But I'm just saying that it's a very sturdy fixed-wing aircraft, and it has completely broken into two. I mean, so if you're watching the screen, I'm really surprised at what happened. It has split into two, sir.
Yeah, it is the fuselage which has broken from somewhere in mid, in two parts. It has broken. There may be, as you brought it out, these are very old machines. The fuselages, do have got some self life. It might happen, but only it can. These are all speculations. We will only come to know once the court of inquiry is done. It just can't be a mistake of air control team over there, because the way it has broken is the wind conditions only thing I think we'll find it out once the court of inquiry is done by experts. The only thing what we can comment on this stage is that it's a very, very old, reliable workhorse, and we are dependent on it. And it develops snags. There is number of snags. Snag means where the pilot and the machine doesn't perform the way it's supposed to perform. But in spite of the fact that you control it. So I have seen a snag in N-32 while traveling in it. Snags are can be dangerous, and now the fuselage is broken in two parts. It might be it must have given up because it might have been used over the life. Any aircraft, 45 years is a huge time. I do not know when this has been procured, N-32, this particular machine, aircraft, when it has been. But good point that, I can, bring it out for your viewers, that India is first time, indigenously is now having the transport aircraft. I think Tatas are making it, and this is the first time the trial testing has been done, and we should be proud of that and move ahead. My condolence to, the pilots if they have lost their life. My condolence, and the people who are operating, who are responsible for it.
Yes, so this is very unfortunate. Sinha sir, please stay with us. I am being joined by Colonel Danveer Singh. So my question to you is that are these planes being upgraded? As we were discussing, these are old planes, these are aged planes. Are these planes being upgraded?
See, these are very old planes, and they are the Soviet-era aircraft. They have been used in the Indian Air Force for a very long time now. And as the previous speaker was saying, that the indigenous aircraft C-293, if I'm correct, are being developed in India, in Gujarat, and they will be replacing these old workhorses. They are extremely old, and yes, there have been number of crashes to do with them before as well. And I mean, it does not surprise me by the fact that such an old machine is being used by the Indian Air Force, and it's quite strange for some reasons that the Indian Air Force is one of those major air forces in the world that operates old vintage aircrafts, which even the original equipment manufacturers have stopped making it. So spares are also being, uh, uh, brought in by some jugaad and or whatever. So it's really pathetic, and it's high time that these are replaced because after all, at the end of the day, a human life is more precious than anything else.
So definitely, this is a very unfortunate incident, and the pilot is also feared dead. Thank you, Mr. K. Sinha and Colonel Danveer Singh, for joining us.